the Gilded Age of Arrogance. They were giants who carved cities from rock and built pillars that touched the sky. Their civilization, the envy of the ancient world, mastered the desert and bent nature to its will. But their very strength became their greatest sin, and their story became a terrifying warning, a lesson in power and pride buried deep beneath the sands of time. Do they not see how many generations we destroyed before them, while we had established them on earth, as we have not established you, and we sent rain from the sky upon them in showers, and made rivers flow beneath them? Then we destroyed them for their sins, and created after them another generation. Surah Al-An'am 6:2. Centuries before the final prophecy, in the vast unforgiving desert of southern Arabia, now known as the Empty Quarter, Rub al-Khali, lay the fertile lands of Al-Akaf. Here the people of Ad thrived, blessed by Allah with plentiful rain and lush oases. They were a people of legendary might. The Qur'an speaks of their capital, Iram of the pillars, the likes of which had never been created in any land. Surah Al-Fajr 89, verses 7 and 8. These were not simple dwellings, they were colossal structures, monuments to an engineering prowess that baffled their contemporaries and continues to intrigue archaeologists searching for the fabled Atlantis of the sands. The men of Ad were known for their immense stature and physical power. Their prosperity was absolute. But this initial state of grace began to curdle. Their strength, a gift from Allah, became the source of their swaggering pride. Their wealth, a divine blessing, fostered a dangerous sense of self-sufficiency. They looked upon their towering cities and mighty armies and began to believe they were the sole masters of their own destiny. Into this flourishing but spiritually decaying society, Allah sent one of their own, the Prophet Hud, alayhi salam. He was a man of noble lineage, known for his integrity. His heroic journey was uniquely painful. It was the journey of a man watching his own family, his own kinsmen, the people he loved, walk willingly toward a cliff of self-destruction. He saw their magnificent achievements not just as marvels of engineering, but as pillars of arrogance, and his heart ached with the knowledge of what was to come if they did not turn back. The stage was set for a confrontation between a prophet's desperate love and a nation's deadly pride. Part 2. A prophet's tears and a nation's taunts. He was one of them, a man of their own blood, sent to save his people from themselves. Their response? Cuff. They called him a fool, a liar, and arrogantly dared God to destroy them. The sky, which had once blessed them with rain, was about to answer their challenge. Prophet Hud's alayhi salam mission began. With the heavy heart of a man pleading with his own family, he stood before them. His message was the timeless call of all prophets. "O my people, worship Allah. You have no deity other than Him. Will you not reason?" Surah Hud 11, 50-51. He begged them to abandon the idols they had carved and to show gratitude for the blessings that surrounded them. But the people of Ad, drunk on their own power, met his sincere pleas with vicious mockery. The curve in Hud's journey was enduring this intense psychological torment. It wasn't just disagreement, it was gaslighting on a national scale. "Indeed, we see you in foolishness, and indeed we think you are among the liars." Surah Al-Araf 7:66. Day after day, he faced their scorn, their laughter, their accusations of madness. His heroism lay in his immense patience, a steadfastness that was not passive, but an active, painful struggle to maintain his compassion in the face of their cruelty. As their rejection hardened, the first signs appeared. Allah withheld the rain. The once green gardens began to brown, the earth cracked, and the gushing springs dwindled to a trickle. This was a divine warning, a gentle squeeze meant to awaken them. But in their hubris, they blamed natural cycles, or worse, they blamed Hud himself for their misfortune. Their defiance reached a fever pitch. They challenged him directly. "Then bring us what you promise us, if you should be of the truthful." Surah Al-Kahf 46:22. They were, in their blindness, literally asking for their own doom. Prophet Hud, alayhi salam, his heart breaking, continued to plead, reminding them of the fates of those before them. But their hearts were sealed. Then the final deceptive sign appeared on the horizon. A vast, dark cloud began to form. They looked upon it not with fear, but with triumphant glee, believing the drought was finally over. The final test had arrived, a harbinger of doom disguised as a promise of relief. Part 3. The Wind of Reckoning. They saw a cloud on the horizon and cheered for rain, mocking their prophet one last time. They never realized it was not a mercy, but an executioner. For 7 nights and 8 consecutive days, the wind screamed, and then there was only silence. As the people of Ad celebrated the approaching cloud, Prophet Hud, alayhi salam, looked upon them with profound sorrow and uttered the terrifying truth. "No, rather,
It is that for which you hastened, a wind in which is a painful torment."
Surah Al-Kahf 46:24. What followed was a divine punishment of unimaginable fury. The Qur'an describes a furious, violent wind, sarsar, that Allah unleashed upon them. This was no ordinary storm. It was a supernatural tempest, a roaring, screaming force that raged relentlessly. For 7 nights and 8 days, the very air became a weapon. The wind, thick with sand and gravel, acted like a divine sandblaster. It tore through their magnificent cities, ripping their lofty pillars from their foundations and reducing their mighty fortresses to rubble. Their immense physical strength, their greatest source of pride, was utterly useless. The wind snatched these giants from the ground, lifting them, tossing them, and slamming them down as if they were hollow trunks of date palms. Surah Al-Haqqah 69:7. Their bodies broken, lifeless, and empty. The emotional intensity of the scene is horrifying. The arrogant boasts of the people of Ad turned into shrieks of terror, quickly silenced by the suffocating, abrasive storm. The heroic journey of Hud, alayhi salam, reached its terrible climax. He and the few believers with him were saved by Allah's mercy, but they were forced to witness the complete annihilation of their people. There was no triumph in his survival, only the heavy, sorrowful burden of a prophet whose nation refused to be saved. When the wind finally ceased, the land was desolate. The once proud civilization of Ad had been erased from existence, their cities buried, their legacy a stark and terrifying lesson carved into the desert. They perished because their arrogance had become a veil so thick that not even a prophet's love or God's clear signs could penetrate it. The final turning point was their own taunting challenge, an invitation that Allah, in His perfect justice, accepted. Their story remains an eternal warning that no matter how high a civilization builds its pillars, they are but dust before the power of the one who created them.